Welcome to World News Update. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Washington is bracing for a legal showdown that could redefine presidential power. All eyes are on the Supreme Court, set to hear arguments on November 5th, the day after the off-year elections. At stake, the fate of tariffs President Trump imposed using a 1970s law. This isn't just about trade, it's about the limits of executive authority. The Supreme Court hasn't ruled yet. They've only agreed to hear the case. President Trump calls this one of the most important cases in U.S. history, raising the stakes even higher. The case began when Trump imposed targeted country-specific tariffs, invoking the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA. IEEPA was designed for national emergencies, but does it let a president create new taxes on imports? That's the billion-dollar question. Trump has even suggested he might attend the oral arguments in person, an unprecedented move. His personal investment underscores the gravity of the moment. This is more than policy. For Trump, it's personal. The outcome could reshape the balance of power between Congress and the White House. The nation is watching, waiting for the Supreme Court to draw the line. The stakes: presidential power, congressional authority, and the future of American trade. The drama is set. The decision will echo far beyond the courtroom. November 5th could mark a turning point in American history. At the heart of this battle is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA. Passed in 1977, IEEPA was meant to rein in unchecked presidential power. It lets presidents regulate economic transactions after declaring a national emergency. Think freezing assets or blocking financial deals. The Trump administration argues IEEPA's power to regulate includes imposing tariffs. They see tariffs as a tool to control goods from countries deemed a threat. Challengers, businesses, and legal scholars disagree, saying only Congress can tax. The Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse, and IEEPA doesn't mention tariffs. This omission, they argue, is deliberate. If the Supreme Court sides with Trump, future presidents could declare emergencies and impose tariffs unilaterally. That would shift enormous economic power to the Oval Office. If the challengers win, Congress keeps its grip on trade policy. The outcome will shape the balance of power for decades. This is more than legal theory. It's about who controls America's economic future. The Supreme Court's interpretation will set a precedent for generations. For Trump, this case is about national security as much as economics. He argues tariffs are vital tools to protect American industries and defend the nation. His administration claims the tariffs could generate $4 trillion over the next decade, helping pay down the national debt. But critics say tariffs are taxes on American businesses and consumers, leading to higher prices and inflation. Many economists warn that tariffs hurt competitiveness and disrupt supply chains. The debate is fierce. Are tariffs a source of strength or a self-inflicted wound? The Supreme Court won't decide which economic theory is right. But the stakes are massive. Trillions of dollars in the future of U.S. trade policy. The legal battle is set against a backdrop of economic uncertainty. The outcome will ripple through every corner of the economy. For Trump, it's about power and protection. For opponents, it's about constitutional limits and economic stability. The court's decision will shape both arguments for years to come. Before reaching the Supreme Court, lower federal courts consistently ruled against the Trump administration. They focused on the text of IEEPA, finding no clear authority for the president to impose tariffs. The power to tax, they said, belongs to Congress unless delegated in unmistakable terms. The administration now asks the Supreme Court to overturn these rulings and expand presidential power. It's an uphill battle. Appellate courts rarely get overruled on clear statutory language. The lower courts have drawn a line. Emergency powers don't include unilateral tariffs. Now the Supreme Court must decide whether to uphold that line or erase it. The stakes: executive power versus congressional authority. The final word rests with 9 justices. This case is about more than tariffs. It's about the future of presidential power. If Trump wins, any president could declare an emergency and impose tariffs, shifting power from Congress to the White House. If he loses, Congress retains control over trade and taxation. The decision won't affect all tariffs, just those imposed under IEEPA. But the precedent will be enormous, shaping law and policy for decades. The justices are drawing the map of power for the 21st century government. The nation waits as the Supreme Court weighs swift executive action against constitutional checks and balances. The outcome will impact businesses, consumers, and the presidency itself. November 5th will be a defining moment for American democracy. The future of trade, and the balance of power, hangs in the balance.